Hello, welcome back to our Extra Foundations tutorial series, episode 5, the map. Honestly, truly this time. Okay, so we've looked at the cockpit, we've looked at mouse control, now we're going to look at the hard part, which is the map. I've already spawned in a couple of ships for myself to have as a little fleet here, these two little guys right here, and I have also exposed the entire map for the game. I set up a custom start that shows every single sector. Now I'm going to zoom out real quick and let you see what it looks like. I haven't opened up, like, I'm not showing all the stations and everything. I didn't have it do that. But you will see the whole map, just so you get a sense of the scope. But then I'm going to zoom right back in so you don't spoil too much for yourself. This is the current map of X4 as of 7.60. And that's enough of that. Okay, so here we are. This is the map. Top left is your name, the date and time, and how much money you have. Then we have these options up here like we had last time. Options, player info, ship interactions, map, encyclopedia, tutorials, and help. Over here we have some filters, and then filter options over here, which we'll talk about in, well, I'll talk about those right now, actually. We'll start down here in the legend. This is very handy. It tells you that stuff that looks all foggy is unknown. Unknown space that you've never seen. Red zones, which we don't have just now, are mineral regions. Blue zones are gas regions, and purple zones are mineral and gas regions. Every map section is a hex. And the hex is divided into little hexes. And each of these hexes will either be blank or one of these colors, or gray if you haven't been there yet. And any hex that is one of these colors means that there are minerals and or gas or minerals and gas available there. Next up, you have jump gate connections, which are going to be white lines, which are going to connect between here and here. We'll see those in a minute. And then we have local highways and superhighways. That was the ribbon I was talking about when we were looking at the game starts. The ribbon, the main ribbon, goes around a whole bunch of sectors and comes back around to Argon Prime. And then you have these other local highways that go inside systems, inside sectors, and don't exit the sector. This ring here, or I should say this piece here, is part of the highway ring, which we'll probably be looking at before the end of this episode. And then there's some other icons for jump gates, accelerators, superhighway gates, which are all different ways of getting to different sectors. Owned ships are in green, neutral ships are in blue, enemy ships are pink, and hostile, actively angry ships are in red. And then we have stations. Headquarters. You get a player headquarters if you pass along a certain part of the story, the main storyline. You'll get access to a headquarters with a guy named Bozo, who is your buddy. And that is always going to be that star hex icon, which is going to be like about maybe this big on the map. Then we have faction headquarters, shipyards, which have these ship shapes that have multiple little chevrons. A wharf, which has a single chevron, or, well, not even a chevron, like a little arrow here. Wharves are for small and medium ships. Shipyards are for large and extra large ships. Then there are equipment docks, which can repair and modify ships, but can't produce them. Then you have trading stations, which function as kind of sinkholes for a lot of goods that get made. Defense platforms, which basically are just big guns. Free ports, which are either going to be pirates or neutral-ish factions. Pharmaceuticals, farms, agriculture, ship tech, high tech, refined goods, water, energy, and generic factory. Everything from pharmaceutical on down are production facility icons. And so you get a station that has a particular icon, you'll kind of know what kind of good it makes. And then next up here we have the different ship icons: extra large, large, medium, and small. And we can see a whole bunch of different types of ships, all the way from the big battleships. It looks like we've got a carrier passing by right now. We can see a bunch of them here. And then builder ships. There's a couple of builders right there. They build stations. Large carriers down to compactors. Frigates down to tugs. Tugs and compactors are for doing salvage. Then you've got some mining ships and freighters and regular transport ships. And then the small fighters and little cargo ships and things like that. Little tiny mining ships and so on. And then we have even smaller units like defense drones, police vehicles, boarding pods, laser towers, drones, various things like that. Most of these will mainly appear around stations, although laser towers and distress drones and so on can appear other places as well. Same with defense drones and cargo drones. Trade offers. You'll see these icons whenever a trade offer is available for a particular station of particular type. So illegal trades, station construction trades, supply trades, and then you'll see trade volume. And we'll talk about when these appear. There's little panels that pop up, and trade volume shows basically how much, how many goods, how much quantity they want to buy or sell. And then we have miscellaneous different types of objects that can appear on the map, going from laser towers to lockboxes, things like that. Then we have the mission icons like person of interest, mission offers, accepted missions. We have faction representatives and so on. Then we also have behaviors, which will appear next to your own ships here. For example, this one right now means hold position. That's me right here. Well, that's actually not me. That's one of my ships here holding position. And these are all the different behaviors that can appear next to your ships. We'll see a lot more of those when we look at controlling ships remotely and doing things like that. Okay. Next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to find a station so we can actually see what a station looks like on the map. Let me see if I can find one. Okay, there's the ribbon. You can see there. It goes from all the way down there to a little gate right over there. Comes down all this way to, oops, just a bit more. There, another gate over there. And there's a station right there.
Unknown station.
Unknown. Let's go to it. I'm using my travel drive right now. We'll talk more about travel drive in a little bit when we look at traveling around the map and looking at all the different modes. But for right now, I just want to get close enough to this wharf that it will show on the map. Okay, here we go. Take a look at all the goodies that we've got now. So we've got 2 mission types that are available. We see a bounty set mission and the importance of first impressions mission. If you need to know what those mean, what those icons are, they will show up here, right there. Mission offers show up in orange, and accepted missions will show up as exclamation marks, or at least the destinations and the targets that you're looking for. So missions are these orange ones of different icon types. Okay. So now we have this wharf. You can see here it's a wharf because it's got that particular icon. Got a whole bunch of ships flying around. We've got some neutral looking guys. Oh, we've got a scale plate plunderer who's being attacked right now. Scale plate is a pirate faction that you can never get friends with. So they're very handy as targets to go and try to steal their ships. Very nice. Here we are. And now we're going to go and take a look at this left side of the map here. Object list. So this is a list of all the objects that are in your current visible scope. Anything that you can see will show up here. Anything that you can see on the map. If I zoom out too far, they'll go away because I literally can't see them anymore.
Requesting immediate backup.
If I zoom in over to here, it'll limit to just what I can see again. All right, so let's zoom in enough that we can see a big chunk. So take a look, scale plate guy here. There he is right down there. And you can select objects from this list. Oh, hey, there's a hop. There's a Holy Order of the Pontifex flying right by me here on the ribbon. Everything that's selected is going to have this little marker here, these big old crosshairs that'll show you exactly where things are. So it'll be easy to find. Okay, so that means the construction mammoth is kind of probably over there on the left. Let's see. Yep, there he is. He's right there. Got the Argon Wharf up there. Got a hull parts factory over here. And you can see here it shows all of the owned stations that we own, none. All of our owned ships, other stations, and other ships. If you don't want to see all the other ships, but you do want to see your own, you can go to property owned. And this will always show all of your property, even if it's not in scope. So for example, if I'm down here and I can't see any of my ships, they will still appear there. So just be aware of that distinction. Object list is only what's in scope. Property owned is everything that you own always. There are some other filters here. This is stations and all ships. This is stations and subordinates. This is ships and deployables. So you can filter out. You can also sort by size, name, hull, relation, and so on. Similar with property owned. You can look at ships with inventory, deployables, unassigned fleets, stations and all ships, and so on. Okay. So I want to take a look at how the map
Minotaur, Vanguard
reflects what's happening out in the world. So we can see over there's a bunch of ships coming in this general direction. You can see they're kind of 20.7, 20.6, 20.4, and that's their speed. If I go to the map, this is me right here, and here they come. Now, this map is in 3D. So these little pins tell us how far away they are from the plane of the ecliptic, which is the sort of the center flat plate that is the quote-unquote middle of the verticality of the map. You can rotate the map if you'd like. The default is the right mouse button. Click and hold. Ta-da! So here we are. And holding down the right mouse button lets you do all sorts of rotations. And you can see these guys are a little bit below the ecliptic. I'm a little bit above the plane of the ecliptic. Doesn't really matter too much. We're not too far away from each other. But these guys are way the hell down. They're having a fight with the scale plate plunderer all the way over there. Way down on the map. So just be aware that if you're looking at it completely from the top, you're going to be relying on these pins to kind of be sure, oh yeah, they're down there. Now, certain ships, well, all stations and some ships will show their actual configuration, their actual physical shape on the map. Notice the little ones don't, but the station here shows us exactly what it looks like. And bigger vessels will do that as well. So, for example, this destroyer and this behemoth E and that behemoth E over there, you can actually see what it looks like.
Behemoth E.
Where are you, behemoth? Oh, what's this guy? Who's this guy? I want to know who this guy is.
Colossus.
Ooh,
E.
he's a Colossus. Okay. So you look at that guy like that. Where's the Colossus? Where are you, Colossus? I don't know where he went. Oh. There he is.
Requesting permission to dock.
There, that's what he looks like. And you can see that kind of pretty much maps what he looks like on the screen. Or in the cockpit. Okay. Now, the next thing you can do, I was looking for him just trying to eyeball the guy, but you can also do a search. Let's see if I can find him. Looking for all the colossi that are visible in my scope. There it is, right there. If I want to look for traders, anything that's got trader in the name will show up. If I don't want all the traders and I just want the Mercuries, oh, you know what? That won't work. That won't work because there is a sector called Mercury. But I can look for Mercu, and I'll find the Mercury ships here. The problem is that Mercury happens to also be the name of a sector, and so it defaults to, if you type it all the way in, it only will show you Mercury, the sector. So that, yeah, that's a little funny thing there. But if I do say Nova, then it'll show me all of the Novas that are visible on my scope of the map. Okay. So let's now look at all this craziness as to how it's laid out. There's a couple things to note here. Ooh, there's a Xenon bad guy flying by right now. You can tell he's down there. So these are my ships. These are the stations, and these are the other ships. These individual ships are just kind of doing their own thing, flying by themselves. But some ships are in fleets. So this carrier here has a couple of fleets. It's got an Alpha group, an Eta group, and a Theta group. And this Theta group has its own Alpha group. So this Alpha group is a defense group. And these are all of the ships that are in that defense group for this fleet. The Eta group is a supply fleet. So it has a resupply ship in that group, and it's designed to just kind of resupply the carrier and the ships, and so that's why it's there. The Theta group is an attack fleet, which has a behemoth, which has its own Alpha group, which are defenders. But this other behemoth is also part of the Theta group, but it doesn't have its own subgroup alphas. And you can see here, this fighter squadron has, in addition to itself, its own Alpha group. There's a lot of ships here. That's a ridiculous amount of ships. And they're all just kind of chilling around by the wharf. So how do you do that, right? So what can I do? So I've got my Discoverer Vanguard here. That's me. I've got my Asp Raider over there. My Cobra is over here, and my Katana. Well, let's go say hi.
Asp Raider.
The Alliance of the Warp 6 acquired arrives. Trusted scientists should convene at our expedition staging grounds in Inheritance End. We intend to illuminate the mysteries of jump gate technology. All are welcome. Science knows no boundaries of race or faction.
Oh, don't overshoot. Okay. I guess I'll overshoot. All right, here we go. These are our ships. They seem to all be squished together a little bit right now, but that's all right. What do I have? I have this little Asp Raider. I've got
Cobra.
Cobra. And I have a Katana.
Katana.
And I can select them separately if I want to as well. Let's see.
Asp Raider. Cobra.
I don't know where my katana went. He's around here somewhere. He's probably hiding. Okay. So these are my guys. They're not currently in a fleet. They're just kind of all by themselves, just like most of the other ships that are out here, like all these guys. So what do I do if I want them to follow me without having to keep constantly giving them instructions on where to move? Well, I can take my ship here. This is me. It's slightly piss yellower green than the others. That's how you identify yourself, basically. And I've got this aspirator, and I got this cobra, and I got this katana.
Katana.
This katana is... Who do I want to... What do I want to do here? Oh, that's right. Okay, yes. There's one ship, like they're kind of... Okay, there they are. They're sitting right next to each other. That's why I couldn't tell them apart. There they are. Okay, I've got 2 medium ships and a little one. So let's say I want the Cobra to be part of my fleet. So I'm going to take the Cobra, and I'm going to right-click on my ship, and I'm going to say... let's try that again. Assign role to... attack with commander, defend, intercept, bombard, or just follow. So let's have him defend. And you get a multiple options here in terms of which group. Each group can only have one type of assignment for the role. And so if I do alpha for my defense, then only alpha can only be defense. I can do other defensive groups, but alpha can only be defense. So if I assign another ship to Alpha Group, it will also be a defensive ship. Oh, where's he going? So now we have an Alpha Group in Fleet 1. My Aspirator, I'm going to have him subordinate to the Cobra. And have him attack alongside that guy. And then I'll have the Katana just intercept for me. As you can see now, Alpha, if I'm picking a different type of role, I can't select Alpha because Alpha is only defense. So intercept for commander, I hope I'm getting this right. Attack with commander will attack my targets whenever I'm attacking something. Intercept for commander will automatically attack things that it could attack within range of me. So only enemies, but it will try to actively attack without essentially attacking with me. It will intercept on my behalf. So now I have an Alpha Group for defense and a Beta Group for interception. And my Alpha Group, which has the Cobra, has its own Aspirator. And now we can see how they're all related. These lines are indicating the relation of the fleet. So now if I fly away, there I go. And now they're following me. Okay. So I'm going to end this episode here, but the next episode we are still going to be looking at the map. We're going to be looking at the ship information panels, which is a whole lot of juicy information that we can use, especially for helping to control the ships and what they can do. We'll also be looking at the context menu, the right mouse button control options that vary based on what you're selecting. Thanks for watching. See you next time.